Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do some DIY Dollar Tree for quick, easy, and inexpensive farmhouse St. Patrick's Day decor items. The first one, I'm going to use some ticking fabric that I have, green paint, some of those shamrocks, and the banner set from the Dollar Tree that I was so excited to find, the burlap banner set. This is the one with the notch cut out of the bottom, not the one that looks like a pennant. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Spanish moss folk art chalk paint. I have totally been loving this color this year for St. Patrick's Day. Don't know why. Don't ask me. I don't know. And I'm going to take 3 of the dark green shamrocks and I'm going to paint the back of them. You could pick the light green ones. It's just that I like the way that this green looks with the darker green. Now, these are a 6-pack, but we're only going to use 5 of them. And I will tell you, they're from the Dollar Tree. They're going to shed. So what I did was I picked my favorite 5. I picked up all the loose threads. I would rather prefer to have a little bit of a frayed edge than to have the string hanging off. Now I'm going to take this ticking fabric I got. I've had this fabric, no joke, for about 15 years. I bought it for $1 a yard at Walmart. Like I said, 15 years ago. I bought so much of it that I actually covered the walls in my guest room in my old house. That's how long ago it is. So I'm going to trace 2 of the shamrocks out of this ticking. And I want all my shamrocks' tails to go in the same direction. So I made sure that I did it on the wrong side of the fabric. And I flipped over the shamrock as well, so it would be in the same direction as the ones that we painted. Now, I'm not a glam girl. You could just make this even easier and glue the different shades of shamrocks on there. That would be so pretty. But I'm not a glittery girl, so I like the real muted tones this year. I'm just going with the greens, beiges, and whites. So that's what we're going to do here. So as you can see, I've cut out both, and they fit perfectly on these banners, which I really do like. I will tell you, I'm going to take some of this fabric again, and I'm going to cut 6 strips out. 6 strips, because we're going to put them on, like, between each banner and on each edge. Now, if this was a homespun fabric printed on both sides, it would be a lot easier. It is not. It's just printed. And then we're going to use a burlap ribbon that I got at Target Dollar Spot for $1. And I wish, in hindsight, I would have picked something thinner or taken the Dollar Tree's, raw edge burlap and cut it in half, because this ended up being just a tiny bit too wide for it to be easy. So if I was you, I would cut, like I said, a smaller piece from the Dollar Tree raw edge burlap. Also, I would replace this jute cord. This is the jute cord that came with the banner, and it is so thin that when we get to the next step, I had such trouble, oh my gosh, because I felt like I was going to snap it every 2 seconds. I should have just stopped where I was and undid it, but I was just having one of those days where I just kept going. I wasn't letting anything keep me down. So we're going to glue these right on. We're going to do a painted, a striped, a painted, a striped, but you could do whatever pattern you want. Of course, I have these on my flexible cutting mat, so because these banners are so wide opened burlap, you want to make sure that you collect any glue onto that cutting mat, and then move it before it gets dry. That's my secret. What I did was I did the top and the right bumps, put it down, and then I flipped over I keep calling it a tail, but it's a stem. I flipped over the stem and the other leaf, and then I glued them and then put them back down again. But I'm going to slow down. When I finally figured out the best way to do this, I'm going to slow down and talk to you about it, because like I said, this jute string was so thin that we've made these rag tags on banners before. Very easy, a lot. But for some reason, with the combination of the burlap, the width of the burlap, and the thinness of the jute, every time I went to go pull the burlap down, it would it would twist up the jute. It was the weirdest experience I was having. But it's going to be okay. So what I really want you to do, and we'll go over here in a second. I actually even tried, at one point I put my plastic straw down to kind of give some strength to the jute. That was it was too much. It was just too much. And because this wasn't a homespun fabric, I didn't want to just tie it on. I also am not always crazy about tying it on because then it goes up and down. For this particular one, I just wanted them to hang down almost like a Windsor tie. So what you want to do is you want to take your banner, your piece of fabric, you want to put it upside down behind the string and then put both tails through the loop that you made when you folded it in half. It's going to be a little easier to see here with the fabric with the print on it. But here's what we're going to do. All right, I'm going to go nice and slow. Okay, you're going to take the fabric with the wrong sides up towards the ceiling, and you're going to fold it in half. You're going to put that loop behind the string and then put one tail in each side of the loop and pull. Now, normally when the jute string that's holding the banner is thicker, I can hold it while I pull and tighten that flag, but it just was giving me such a hard time today. But you guys, you can do it. You're not having a hard time. It's going to be easy, I promise. But I really wanted to share this technique with you because it doesn't have to be the St. Patrick's Day. You really can do these fabrics on these banners any time of the year. You can make hearts, you can make Easter eggs, you can make bunnies, you can make stars for Americana. Really, the possibilities are endless. There's where I was using the plastic straw. I thought maybe that might work, but yeah, it wasn't. Once I had it even figured out, I had 3 more to do, and I was like, nope, I can't. They're not working. Yeah, so, Now this would also look cute if I had some more of that green ribbon that I've been using everywhere. I am just out, so there's none of that. But my original intention was to have some of the ticking, some of the burlap, and then a little bit of green ribbon. So here's how it looks all done. And I didn't tell you that I put ticking next to the not ticking shamrocks. For the next one, we're just going to use this, and then we're going to use some more of that paint. I know that says Waverly here, but it's really just this Spanish moss paint and then a little bit of this ribbon to make a bow. But this paint, I'm totally loving this, and this is really just about techniques. So I've taken the middle shamrock I started, and I added water to it. Then I took a baby wipe specific, because it does have a little bit of cleanser on it, and I dipped it in the cap, and I wanted to create a really, really light shade of stain. Then I'm taking a tissue, which I wet the tissue, and I dipped it in the paint, not with a wet shamrock, and I went ahead and I added that to make a darker stain. So there's not 2 different colors. This is just one color paint. It's just with 2 different staining techniques. One is with much more water because we wet the shamrock wood, plus we used a wipe. The other one is with just water on the tissue with not a wet shamrock. And yeah. And you just want to rub it with the grain of the wood. Now, I do love how it's all modeled and stuff. So if you want it to be more flat, perfect finished, you can go ahead and do that. But I like the modeled look. I put every other one to be either light color or the dark color. It's perfect because there's actually 8 shamrocks on here. So it actually works out really well. I was contemplating taking off that first layer of the banner so that wouldn't be in my way, but I knew afterwards I was going to paint it white, so I really wasn't worried about it. But if you're afraid of getting too much green on your banner, you can go ahead and slide your metal ruler or something under there to separate it and just glue it back when you're done. But I thought it was fine this way, so I just continued around. Again, I added water to the light colored, used a wipe. Again, these are just my flushable wipes. You could use baby wipes or whatever, but has just a little bit of cleanser on it, which makes it just a little bit more muted, more faded. Okay. And again, I haven't added white to either of these paints. This is just straight paint from the jar, just mixed with the 2 techniques. All right. I used that wipe, a clean part of that wipe, to just clean off any part of the big paint that was on there. Now, to get a nice even edge, all you do is, the trick is you hold your paintbrush like sort of sideways, and then you brush off of the edges. And this way you don't get any white on your shamrocks that you already painted. Okay. Now I'm taking some of the Waverly wax in Antique, and I've still got my white on the paintbrush, and I just dipped it in that wax, and I created my shading. I basically did straight where the ribbon was curled, and then back under where the ribbon was curled. And then I just took straight concentrated dark antique wax, and I just went ahead and I made a darker shade. So when I do shading, I always do like light shade, middle shade, dark shade. That's how my teacher taught me how to do it. So I'm teaching you how to do it that way. I also took the brush when I had that first original shade and I went across the entire banner just to add some more antiquing to it. Now this, what I decided to put on mine, obviously you could put on whatever you want on yours. What I decided to put on mine is I have this cute little sticker that said live, laugh, and love. And one of the words was every day. And I was like, I want to put Irish every day. Because there is a lot of like, I'm Irish on St. Patrick's Day kind of things going around. And I just thought it was funny and clever. I don't know. I'm weird. I also was contemplating doing the Irish in like print and then having the everyday be in script, but for some reason I just became like a knucklehead and I did this. Yeah, I don't know why. Don't do what I did. No, but seriously, we have put our name on this banner on a wreath earlier in the season. We wrote the Hensons. You can write the Henson family. You can write your last name. You can write, Erin Gobra, whatever you feel like, St. Patrick's Day, whatever you feel like writing on there. You can just look on the Google images for like printables. You could just type in whatever phrase you want. And a lot of times they'll have letters already done, like words already done in special letters that you can do. Now we're just going to make one of our 2 loop bows, which again is 2 loops on each side. Just fold the ribbon over itself twice. I take an extra piece of ribbon, tie it around. It becomes the tails and the knot. And now I'm putting a piece of jute in it. I'm tying a knot on the end, burying the knot, and then taking the loop, and I'm putting it through the existing hole. I'm going to dovetail the ears. I'm sorry the film here is so dark, but this is how it looks. It's really cute, and it was so easy. Other than writing the word Irish, I had, that was probably the most difficult part. For the next one, we're just going to use these flowers and a little bit of burlap ribbon. So I wanted to go over some of the things about these flowers, for this bouquet especially. Some of the shamrocks were really short and some of the flowers were really tall, and all you have to do is swap them out. And when I went to go pull the shamrocks off, I noticed that the shamrock was like kind of shoved all the way down the stem as opposed to just being on the end of the stem. So all I did was move them up. I moved all the leaves up, and then I bunched them white, green, and white. I made sure all of the shamrocks were kind of facing out, and then I took some burlap ribbon, the one from Target. I wrapped it around the handle, glued it at the top and the bottom. Added a little tiny piece of that sage ribbon that I had left. And then I took all of the flowers and I faced them. I basically found the front that I wanted to do, and I kind of bent the flowers towards the front. And I could have arranged them by moving their blossoms around, but I just decided to bend them all forward, made sure some of the shamrocks were sticking out and up. And then I ended up putting that headband on that says Irish with the rainbow on it right there. I just stuck it in the back of the arrangement, but you don't have to do that. And that's how that looks. And now we're going to make a wreath, our final wreath of the year. No, I'm just kidding. Of St. Patrick's Day. We're going to use the willow wreath form, this cute little scarf, some felt from this package, and some felt from this Christmas tree, believe it or not. But I know that they came out with shamrocks this year. I just didn't buy any. And then we're also going to use 3 of the glittery shamrocks, the foam shamrocks. So the first thing, I'm just going to cut the bottom off of this tree. I'm going to make, basically, it's felt. It's a really stiff felt. So we're going to make a ribbon rose out of it, or fabric rose out of it, depending on who you talk to. But it's just a little too stiff and it's a little too bumpy. So what we're going to do is I'm rolling it a few times just to soften it up, and then I'm going to rub it on the edge of the table, basically just to give it some flexibility. I mean, it's funny because we kind of like it because it's a stiff felt, but then we don't like it because it's too stiff. I don't know. Go figure that one out. I know, we're crazy. Now we're going to just roll it. Basically, the inner curve is going to be on the bottom, which is going to create those petals on the outside, and we're just going to roll it from the inside to the outside, just like we're going to do with these fabric flowers. Okay, I've made fabric flowers on my channel before, paper flowers. If you want to hang on, we're going to do a slowed down version in a second. What I wanted to do is the 2-layer look on here. So I have like a dark green little mini rose. This is the 2-layer. I did one green on the inside, one white on the inside, 2 different sizes. What you do is basically cut a circle of fabric into a spiral, And then you can wave your scissor back and forth to give a little bit more texture to the top of your flower. But I just kept mine pretty straight. I mean, a little wave to it. Nothing big, though. For this one, I'm doing the 2-layer. And then I'm taking a green glittery marker from the Dollar Tree. And I'm creating that spiral. And I want that green glittery marker spiral to sort of be at the end of the rose. Just to give it a little bit of a different variation. Okay, and this one's just green with the glittery. I know it looked like I was going to layer it there for a second, but I didn't. Now, starting with the skinny end, which is the first part that we cut, you're going to roll. The inside curve is always going to go towards the bottom. I am rolling it just between my 2 fingers. Then the center of the flower, the center of the swirl that's left over is going to be the bottom of the flower. So you're going to put a whole bunch of glue down there and slap that middle in. And that's what's going to hold the flower together. Now you can add leaves to this. We've done that tons of time as well. So now I've taken 3 of the shamrocks. I'm going to take 1 dark and 2 light ones, or 1 light one and 2 dark ones. And I've just placed them with 2 roses on each side. I was just doing a little arrangement. How do I want it to look sort of situation. Now we're going to take the scarf. This is the scarf. I love this plaid. It's so pretty. It just goes with these greens so well. I've taken the end of it and I've created sort of a bow. I've put a little wire through the bow and wired it to the wreath form, and then I've taken the edge of the rest of the scarf and I've wrapped it around. I was kind of like, do I wrap it inside outside, outside inside? So you play with it. You do what you want. There's other scarves out there. You could put ribbon on here if you want to. I just really liked the way that this flowed. I really did. I thought it was very pretty. I like the poofy sort of bow look as well. And this plaid just does everything for me. So I'm just fluffing up the bow the best I can. And then here's how that looks. I think that this came out really cute as well. It was very easy, very simple, very quick, as I said. And this is all of the projects. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. This will be it for St. Patrick's Day. I might do Irish soda bread. I haven't talked about it with Jimmy yet, but if I do, I will share it 100%. If you guys have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family. Anybody who might be interested in any of these projects or any of the techniques. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. And when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!